I'm Dyer Ball. I play for Team Pineapple.
It's not a surprise when a son or grandson goes into the family business. For the Ball family, the vocation is volleyball.
Opposite, 6'6", lefty. I went to Ball State University, graduated this past year. Went to the Final Four in 2022. Won 2 MIVA championships. Now we're here.
Tell me a little bit about your volleyball career. Like, how did it start? Where is it now?
It probably started, it definitely started when I was very young. Traveling with my dad, growing up just watching him play kind of caught my eye for the game. I didn't start actually playing until I was probably 13, 14. And I only played a couple years then, from like 13 to 15. Then I didn't really want to do that anymore. I told dad that I didn't want to, and that kind of broke his heart a little bit. But then I ended up playing like basketball and football through high school.
Were you a quarterback when you played football?
No, I was a wide receiver. But all the corners were 5'3" and I was 6'6", so it was pretty much just chuck it really deep and I'll just jump over them. And then about halfway through my junior year of high school, I was like, I think I wanted to give it another try. And so I trained that whole year, that summer. And then all of my senior year I played. And I got an offer from Ball State and Penn State. And I went on my visit to Ball State University, and it was awesome. I stayed the night there, and we had a great time. I just really connected with those guys really well. It was only 2 hours from home, too, which was nice. But it was like a good, decent amount away from my parents, but not super far. And so, yeah, I fell in love with that whole atmosphere there. Stayed all 4 years there. Started about 3 of those years. Won the 2 MIVA championships and the Final Four in 2022 out at UCLA, which is amazing. So just super blessed that I've got to be able to be a part of a lot of awesome games. I got to travel with my dad and see all those amazing places over the globe. And then for Ball State, you'd be able to travel around America and play in all those awesome gyms like BYU and Long Beach and Hawaii, all that stuff.
But you're a lefty. You're a lefty opposite. So how was that conversation, like not becoming a setter?
Well, I was a setter. I got kind of recruited to be a setter right side, and then probably 3/4 of the way through my freshman year, they kind of kicked me out of setting and then just threw me on the right side. But that's what I wanted to do anyway. I like setting, but obviously everyone wants to hit, and I was better at that once I got to the college level. So then I kind of just got stuck with the right side, which I loved.
How do you distinguish yourself from like your dad's legacy?
Yeah, that was always kind of like one of the main things that I try to do. Just kind of growing up, like not trying to be in his shadow. Obviously, it's hard to get out of that. He's one of the best to ever play. And I think after like my first year and a half at college, I just stopped caring about that as much. I was like, I'm not going to be him. I'm not trying to be him. I just want to be my own person. And I think that's where I kind of got like my own character of, I always had like the crazy hair on the team. I always was like the super fiery guy that like if we needed a momentum boost, that's what I would do. And then it came with just getting better and playing more, and that was obviously what kept me on the court. But I feel like once we started winning championships and I was playing in those games, I kind of like I have that behind my name now, not just Volleyball's son, but like Dyer. He's won these championships. He was in the Final Four. He has this ring. He'll be up in Worthen Arena forever on those banners. So I think at the end of my college career, I could say that I kind of got out of it a little bit, but it is what it is.
Has your hair gotten less crazy as you've gotten more comfortable?
It started off really bad. I used to have it's always been like super puffy up here, but I like bleached the whole thing my freshman year, and I just never cut it. So it was like legit in front of my eyes at the end of the season. And then we've had the mullets for about 1.5 years now, and that was like kind of the whole Muncie thing. It was called like Mullet Mania in Muncie, and like we got like recognized by like the USA commentators, and they were like playing a game, and they were talking about like all of our hair and stuff.
You see the list right there of mullet madness. It's certainly an image that has been associated with Ball State men's volleyball for a couple of years.
Because we had like 7 guys on the team that were doing mullets. It just like spoke to like the kind of like core team that we had, that we were all like there loving volleyball but having a good time with each other. Like not just we would show up to practice and like that's when we would have to talk to each other, but like we would just be with each other all the time.
Why did you decide to play in the VLA?
Well, my dad kind of like helped start that, obviously, with Team Pineapple being one of like the core teams. And we had always done like different Team Pineapple type stuff before that, like having those teams play in like the USAV Nationals and stuff like that. But then I was never really old enough to play with those guys until like I think 17, 18 is when we kind of started doing. I got to play with the Team Pineapple guys on like we do the Volleyball Classic, so that was probably the first time that I got to play with all those guys like Chris Gislin and Jorge and Lauren Gebert and my dad and all of them.
I think he definitely made it to help us further our volleyball careers and experiences, and I think it's done just that. My sister played for the Team Pineapple Club for 11, 12 years growing up, and that helped her get to UCF where she's at now.
And then after my senior year of high school, I think it was the first, right when like the VLA kind of really started, we had a tournament in Angola at BSA. And I got to play in that one with Dad and all those guys. And that was like my first kind of introduction to, pretty much playing anything besides like club. Before I even got to college, I did that. And that was super fun. And obviously everyone liked to talk trash to boy's son, which was pretty funny, just like being the youngest guy out there. But it was a really awesome experience getting to play against like some of those guys and playing with those guys. And then after that, once I got to college, I didn't really get to play in that anymore. Until this past summer, when me and one of my other teammates, Trevor Phillips, we kind of joined. Dad had us join going into Madison, which was like the one before the national or the finals or whatever. And we had to win a certain amount of games. We got those games and we won. And then we finally got to go to the finals, losing in the finals, obviously, to the bounce. But it was still like a great, like we weren't supposed to be there, but then we won all these games with all these new guys that we kind of brought in towards the end. So that was really fun. I'm excited to kind of get back to doing that here pretty soon.
What's it like playing for your dad?
The first couple times growing up, it was obviously weird. He was always my coach no matter what I was doing. So for basketball, football, volleyball, whatever it was, he was my coach. And then I finally got to play with him for like the Wapaka grass tournaments up in Wisconsin. We always played in those together. And then finally playing like an actual indoor game with all those guys was kind of super cool that first time. I think it was the VLA when we first kind of really did that. And then like we had my grandpa come in and serve, which was awesome. And so it was like all three balls were out there kind of the same time. But then after that, it's pretty normal. He gets on me just like he gets on everybody else, maybe sometimes more, but I usually deserve it. But yeah, it's fun. He's one of the best setters to ever set the ball. So I always like to have him on my team. I get the best ball possible.
For me personally, playing with Dad on the Team Pineapple team and all those guys has definitely been something that I dreamed of as a little kid, watching all them play around together. I was like, man, hopefully one day I get to do that. And Team Pineapple gave me that experience.
I think the tempo in college is definitely faster. And that's what I kind of was struggling with at the beginning of coming to VLA. Like when I would go to block, it just, like I was always so early and I could never get any really touches. Like it slowed down, but like in a more meticulous, like smart type of way. And so I feel like that was kind of the hardest thing for me to kind of get through those first couple games of those tournaments. But obviously we have guys in the VLA that play pro and are outstanding players. So it's always, and it's growing to more people and more teams, and there's always going to be better guys coming. So I think the skill level is definitely a lot better.
What's next for you?
So honestly, I don't know. I'm down here in Florida now working.
Why Florida?
Well, I worked at IMG last summer. It was like their first year for, for volleyball there. It was like their, and so we did like summer camps and stuff to like kind of get into their inaugural season. And then my boss from there, he kind of opened his own place down here in Venice. And so I kind of followed him, and I'm coaching and doing a bunch of like different types of lessons and stuff like that. So I really do enjoy that. I like teaching younger kids about volleyball now and getting them interested in it and hopefully on to the next level. But I'm going to keep playing in this VLA as long as we can, as long as it's still a thing, as long as we still have a Team Pineapple. I'll play on that team.